Let's do some Excel basics of navigating around. I have in front of you the syllabus. And here is the first thing we're going to talk about. When we talk about navigating, first thing I want you to do is get more comfortable with using your arrow keys. So notice I'm just arrowing around the entire spreadsheet on my laptop and thinking of it more like you'd think of a video game. The mouse is fine, but the mouse will also cause you to be a little bit slower and can cause some stress on your wrists. So the first navigation thing that I want you to think about is navigation using arrows. Okay, after we think about using arrows though, the next thing that you want to be able to think about is that there are arrows and commands that go with it. So for example, if I arrow over here in the very beginning and I just hold down shift and then I'm right arrowing, it selects either a row or a column at a time. So that is the navigation using shift plus your arrows. There's a third, actually two more ways to navigate. So another way would be control arrow. So if I start here, control arrow, and I'm just going down. Notice I can jump. It's a jump. I'm going up, I'm going down to major blocks. That's what the use of control plus arrows do. Watch if I do it all the way here, it'll take me to the very bottom of the spreadsheet, control plus, and I'm all the way back. So control plus arrows is something that we use. And then the last is the combination. So if I want to grab blocks, I can do control shift arrow. And notice it grabs all the things at once if I do control plus shift plus arrows. So that's also another nice way to navigate. Let me move this stuff down here. Notice I'm using my arrows the whole time I'm doing this. Control plus shift plus arrows. Okay, last two things then to really think about is use of navigations. So when we have menus up here, for example, we use home and page layout a lot. There are two different ways you can navigate those things. And those navigations, though, are dependent on your technology environment. Like the Alt plus commands, only on PC will that work. So watch, if I'm on home, for example, and I want to get to page layout, I can press Alt and it brings up menus. Then I can press P, that brings me to page layout. And then if I wanted to do something like the orientation, I could press O. And then I can even use arrows to move between portrait and landscape. So that's another quick way to do your navigations. And you'll see me do stuff like that a lot, like when we go to headers and footers. The next thing, though, that you can think about when it comes to navigations is shortcuts. There is a link that I will post, and shortcuts can be as simple as I can move over here and control B to bold and unbold, or control I to bold and unbold, or control P to print preview, for example. So the next thing that we really think about then is all of the shortcuts that you can use. And as I said, I'll go ahead and post a link to those. The last thing then that you want to think about is there's a search bar up here too. So that if I don't know what I'm trying to do or how to do it, and these are the three questions that I'm always asking myself when I'm in Excel, which is what am I trying to do? How do I do that? And then how do I do that faster? So if what I am trying to do, for example, wants to be headers and footers, I can just come up in here and then I can type the word header in there and it starts to recognize, and then I can just click on it with my mouse. And notice it takes me a very specific way, not my preferred way. My preferred way is through these menu navigations like page layout, page setup, header and footer. That is where I like to do it because notice it changed our view on us when we did it like that. So I have to navigate back to view. It changed my view to page layout. I much prefer being in a normal view. But it would allow me to get to headers and footers. It's just not my preferred way. How did I do it? It took me right to it. How do I do it faster than Alt PSP? There's arrow right, and there's my headers and footers. So here are some of the basics of Excel that you can combine with the file structure video to start giving you some proficiency and productivity tools that can be a differentiated skill to a young business major. In the next videos, we will then start learning more about the functions in Excel and how to create good spreadsheets with them. See you then.